Welcome, welcome everyone to another exciting episode of the Nebulous Collection. I am joined by my fabulous teammates.
I was gonna say, yeah, do the slurp. Give
and
us
the
big
sounds of
slurp.
slurp.
Oh.
Gay eating intensifies.
Remind me to.
So hot.
Oh my god! Remind me.
Like temperature-wise.
I know,
like,
but it
it's
fits
really-
and it works, and we're going with it.
Not gonna kink shame.
Yeah. Food
live
can be
on stream.
food can be sexy. It's true.
There's a reason the erotica and the cookbook sections are close to each other in
It's
bookstores.
true.
It's because
So-
horny people like snacks.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's do this.
Let's.
Hey, are those traits tied to each other? Because I think that might be just most people like snacks.
I feel like if you like,
No,
look,
they're definitely tied.
there's
There's
something
definitely a
about
correlation between people who
like-
eat and people who fuck.
like okay, yeah,
Most-
but I mean like there's for people who consume erotica, I feel like there is
Mood,
a
yeah.
desire to
Like
have an
eating the books.
appetite and feed and like. Anyway, we'll talk about this later.
We can talk
go
about this later. It's
Fight
fun.
some fucking
No, we
gin
need
now.
to talk about this
Book.
now.
Oh, shut up. I love you. Shut up. That was not what I meant.
All right.
Okay, excuse me.
It's your show, AK.
I will seriously mute while we eat this.
Good idea.
Thank
Tell me if
Paint
I'm
us
too
a
noisy,
word
alright.
picture.
All right. Well, when last we left our intrepid
Adventurers, collectors.
we'll go with
Dumbasses?
adventurers, our
Dumbasses.
unplanned variables.
Yeah.
Unplanned variables. I
Team
like that one.
redacted.
Unplanned variable. That's an
they-
amazing band name.
Entered into the city of Irem of the Pillars, one of the Jinn's cities, built around their eponymous wishing engines and the source of their wealth and power. But Irem seems to be locked in some manner of temporal null space.
Badness.
Causality
Mhm.
doesn't seem to work here as it should. The strange and seemingly deathless Elsewolves prowl the city for scraps, and the party encountered a ghostly mob of Jinn, seemingly separated from their mortal bodies, in the midst of a riot, and, well, more like a lynching, rather, of
Mm,
a rather complicit individual known as the Broker of Regrets, or as the crowd would have it known, a Never Was, this being a type of Jinn who refrains from any choice so as to avoid the consequences of their collective past and future taking revenge upon them. The exact nature of the Never Was is complex, but the important takeaway is that the broker, though able to provide the party a in with the giver of gifts who controls this city, is otherwise unable to act of their own free will, lest they invite some very vengeful past versions of themselves. And it also seems that their death would also cause a collapse of these other multifarious versions.
hmm.
And the crowd's intent seemed to be on killing this Never Was so that they could destroy Irem properly and die properly because, well, as stated previously, causality here is a little uneven.
Mhm.
With the Never Was in tow, the party pushed deeper into Irem towards the tower at the city's center that contains the wishing engine and the giver of gifts. The party, pursued by a growing pack of Elsewolves, took to the air in their spectral steeds. Previously,
Are we still being followed by that eyeball?
the eyeball is still there. it's mostly just hovering over Dreadface's shoulder and just sort of gazing lovingly at them.
I love it.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, it seems that the Elsewolves could also fly is perhaps the wrong word, but we'll call it running vertically. So they pursued the party into the sky, but were quickly reduced in number by some slick gun work by Ether and Havelock both. The party considered landing, but refrained from doing so on the sighting of a very large, almost building-sized Elsewolf prowling the streets immediately around the central spire. So the decision was then made instead to fuck it, break a window.
And break a window we did.
Sure did that.
So instead, the party decided to perform something of an emergency landing directly into the minaret that crowns the central spire, and found themselves in a massive tangle of tubes and wires that seems to go on for miles, and was left with the approaching clatter of what sounds like very small metal limbs in the manner of a steel centipede.
Don't like that.
I don't like that at all.
Notably, the Elsewolves that were pursuing them broke off their pursuit and refused to follow them into the minaret in spite of
Double
the open
don't
window
like
available
that.
to them.
Oh yeah, I extra hate that.
So you find yourself in a room that is, at just from what you can tell, about the size of a football field in radius, and you're not sure how far it extends beyond that because whatever sight lines you have are blocked by just the massive tangle of wires and tubes and various bits of machinery here and there. And the Never Was says simply and pleasantly, "We're here."
You wouldn't happen to know what that metallic tinking steppy noise is, would you?
Oh, that would be the giver. She must be on her way.
Oh dear.
Oh, is she going to be upset? Is she likely to be upset with us?
She is likely to be upset. I don't
Oh.
know that you have much to do with it specifically.
Oh, is this going to be they will attack us on sight upset, or?
No, I don't think that would accomplish much.
I hope not, but things are weird here. Either way.
Indeed.
And Havelock, stands back up and does their best to, get their dress back on, everything in its place, look as unruffled as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
become presentable.
Yep, shakes out their hair in that impressive movie way that just puts everything back in its place.
God, you're so third.
Oh yeah. Oh, Havelock's
pure
the
Corona
worst.
Beth bullshit. Continue.
Oh yeah. Havelock is the worst. I love it. Yep.
43rd.
Oh yeah. And Havelock gets Nebulous up and does the same. Just starts getting everyone up and is just like, okay, let's be presentable real quick.
Mm-hmm,
Just quickly flits about everybody, making sure everything's as in place as it can be. Straightens and corrects the way Dreadface is wearing the dress because they're doing it wrong.
She definitely is.
Yep.
I think Dreadface tries to act not suspicious.
Oh god, extra suspicious. Understood.
Yeah.
Suspicious question mark.
Try and
The
just fit
best
in.
kind.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just instantly don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Nervously looking around everywhere, looking real shifty all of a sudden.
Yep. She's pretending to read she pulls out a book and pretends to read it, but it's upside down. You know.
Oh my god.
Yep.
So you all take the opportunity before things start to happen to sort of clean yourselves up and look like you
Oh!
belong here in some
Last
some
thing.
manner.
Last thing Havelock does. Checks and makes sure their guns are loaded before, like, holstering them. Keeping the holsters keeping them loosed in their holsters, but, like, keeping them away for now. Just loaded and ready to go. Like, just want my guns loaded and ready for a quick draw, just in case.
Fear not, your guns were already loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because you're pretty sure you remember firing a couple shots at the Elsewolves, but
Oh, no. Oh.
you know, it's
I
fine.
don't like that as much as I otherwise would.
Yeah, Yersinia and Mithraia are doing what they do.
Looking
Which is-
sepulchral.
Yersinia is looking sepulchral. Mithraia looks like she wants a protein shake. It's the
Yup,
usual.
It's the usual, yeah.
So you essentially line yourselves up as best you can and sort of like get to attention. Like, well,
Yeah, Yersinia and Mithraia pull their veils down.
Mhm.
Or more to the point, Yersinia pulls hers down, and Mithraia forgets about hers, and Yersinia pulls hers down for her.
Yup. Now, and Havelock turns to look at everyone real quick and is like, now remember, everyone. And looks pointedly at Dreadfusay. Act like you're meant to be here. The trick to a
Dreadfusay-
lot of interaction is confidence, my friends. Confidence.
Dreadfusay very slowly pulls her goggles down over her eyes. In that way she does when she's going to get in a fight in 3 seconds.
Havelock looks like Havelock's Havelock's eyelid twitches a bit, but otherwise they look perfectly composed.
I'm honestly surprised that Dreadfusay does not have her goggles on at all times.
Same, frankly, like out of
They gotta
character,
go on the
yes.
forehead like a Digimon protagonist.
Digimon.
like a Hellboy cosplay.
The thing is, yeah, no, she's got the lens because of the ones I've got in real life. I give she my good friend C, are tinted lenses. I like to think that the ones she wears are tinted as well,
Okay.
and she can't fucking see in them.
She wears welding
Unless
goggles
there's
without
light-
realizing that there's
Riddick
bright
goggles,
magic
but
light
they-
going on.
oh no.
Oh god, now oh my god, at some point, like, not to derail this, but at some point we should I'm going to come up with a campaign where we can just go into the Riddick universe.
Yes.
No.
There's a lot of fun opportunities.
Yeah, there is.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so
Gotta bring us to
you-
40K sometime.
there's
All right.
Moving on.
we can throw in there. Anyway,
Mhm.
so you get the squad sort of lined up as best you can, sort of at attention. They're like, well, here goes nothing.
Mhm.
And the gradually grows louder, and from around a tangle of cables, you see a series of probably a dozen or so thin metal limbs that are copper colored. They have that sort of goldish brown hue to them, and
Walking rig
very,
for legs,
very
walking
long.
rig for legs.
Like harvest men long, like daddy long legs spider long.
I'm just picturing the other mother's hands.
Yeah, that's honestly a good that's a good point of comparison. That similar is very like thin, almost needle like sort of metal. And these clamber through the wires and are amongst them, there's probably a couple dozen of them, and amongst them, they are supporting a what is essentially a central like wireframe cage. And within this cage is a very nice, what looks like a throne, essentially. And sitting in this throne is a very worn, tired-looking djinn with long, like, very ratted red hair. You know what? She looks a little bit like she looks a little bit like Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. That same sort of like very long-limbed, blue-skinned, ratty hair sort of appearance.
Interesting.
And she looks worn. She looks tired. Her eyes are bloodshot and cracked, and there are almost looks like cracks in her skin.
Dear.
The Jin's skin has a crystalline, iridescent look to it, and hers is cracked and dull.
Oh dear.
And the carriage, for lack of a better term, the contraption, there we go, that transports her, stops a few feet away from you, and the hands sort of tap as though impatient. And she looks over all of you, sees the broker, and nods at them, and says, "All right, let's try this."
The giver of gifts, I take it?
The very same, and
How
she
can we
kind
help?
of points down the line. Havelock Chamberlain, Dr. Dreadfusay, Ether, Yersinia, Mithraia, and I didn't catch your name last time. The big one.
Nebby?
That yeah,
Nibirius?
she sort of gestures
Yeah.
towards Nibirius.
Oh, yeah. Nibirius is just like... Nibirius von Stromkirk.
Stromkirk. Vampire. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Born and raised.
He made my boots. Not the current. Okay.
Also, Havelock, when Havelock is pointed to, Havelock curtsies extremely gracefully.
Because he's extra.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking third.
Oh, yeah, so third it hurts.
What does that
Darling,
mean?
you look positively dreadful. Is there anything we
It
can
has
do to
been,
help?
What does so third mean?
It's all Gideon the Ninth, third
it's a
house.
reference to Gideon the Ninth.
Yep. I don't have time to explain why I don't have time to explain.
She sort of looks down the line and says, "All right, that's a good start." And you have the broker with you. Good.
We
good.
certainly do.
Imagining the broker like doing a thumbs up over Nebby's shoulder or whoever's carrying. Wait, is that Mithraia who's carrying them?
I think
Mithraia
Mithraia is
was-
carrying the
Mhm,
broker.
Mithraia
Oh yeah,
is-
Yeah.
Nibirius has put down Dreadfussay.
I figured.
Of course.
Oh yeah, no, I was. Yeah. Ah.
And she looks you over and says, "Well, this is off to a good start. And you have the broker with you. That's good."
I need to do some behind the scenes. I'm drinking a black
Mhm.
coffee as an experiment, and I'm suffering. I'm suffering.
Yeah, you're drinking a black coffee.
It has sugar in it, but it's still bad.
Yeah, that's how black coffee works.
Yep.
Anyway,
Let me guess, you take it black.
so you know you can
Oh.
stop drinking the coffee, right?
I'm not gonna waste it.
God.
You can and should actually.
Anyway.
If you eat it, you pay for it twice. Also, I have a sandwich in my face. Continue.
Mm.
We finished our ramen, so there won't be any more slurping sounds. For
Alright.
now.
The ramen return is inevitable.
So,
Cower ye mortals in despair.
Our stomach always gets upset at us when we just eat like cheap instant ramen. But we do it anyway. Fuck you, our body.
You're a Gen
Okay,
Z, you can't
so-
afford good ramen.
mm,
That's true.
So here we all are before
Yes.
the giver. I'm sorry, I have to know where this is going.
same.
Mhm.
We're before the giver of gifts, and she's gone down the list, and
How may we assist you in this?
Well, we'll do the best we can this time. So here's the situation.
Havelock's filing that away. Havelock's filing this time away.
The next reset needs to be bigger.
How much bigger, and how do we make it bigger?
Well, I thought I would have been able to pull it off on my own, but that is apparently not the case. It's not simply the volume of Elsewolves, it's the locust that queen of theirs is creating.
Oh.
And don't try to fight it, that won't work, as you well know.
Ah, I see we've tried that before then.
You have, it didn't go well.
When?
Perturbing. I don't recall any of this.
It was the first cycle. I'd be surprised if you remembered any of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Piss, it's a time loop.
Time loops
Yersinia,
are
like,
a-
punches the air. She's like, I knew we died at least once.
Well,
That would
When
explain a few things, actually.
How long have we been here?
Oh, gods. Do you want the answer to
And
that
here-
question, Ether?
I don't
In-
think I'll gain anything from knowing, but I still want to know.
in linear time, 3 days.
Okay,
Ah.
that's not so bad.
Hmm.
You say that, but
Yeah.
As for the cycle,
Are we in the low
I lied.
hundreds yet?
no, Christ, that would be an
A nightmare.
extraordinary waste of resources.
Oh, good.
I believe 16 or 17.
Ah,
those.
okay. Oh, we're not even pushing triple
Wait,
digits. Excellent.
Whoa. Okay, I have several questions about how this time loop works.
Do we have
we have
time to
several-
answer all the questions?
I have one main one. Normally, we have multiple immortals in our party. Have we all died in order to reset the time loop? Is it only one of us that is mortal that dies that resets it?
Oh,
Are
no,
the
no, no,
others
no.
Now capable of dying?
The giver sort of smiles like, I see. I see the dilemma. No, it's not tied to any of your deaths. It's not tied to any
Okay.
particular event except my ability to manufacture more wishes to reset it.
Hmm.
So you just decide that things have gone awry enough to be worth a reset and hit the button?
Were it so simple, it takes time and a
Hmm.
tremendous amount of energy to manufacture a wish. Not to
Hmm.
say and each wish drains what resources we have left a little more.
Ah.
I would very much like to see this city saved because dark as the work I do is, I do it for their sake.
Fair enough.
And after all, none of us chose to have the Elsewolves attack.
So,
They're more like a hurricane than anything willful.
hmm.
A
Save
force of
perhaps the
nature?
queen, but she, like the wishing engines themselves, are outside of this dimension. And unless any of you have fifth or sixth dimensional ammunition available to you, I doubt your subsequent
just
attacks will
glance
do
at
anything better
Havelock.
than the last.
Well.
You don't believe
Oh.
me. We tried that.
Oh, okay. All right. Next question.
Yes.
Is it a matter of finding or making the correct wish? Or do we need to affect material conditions such that the use of a wish is optimal?
She looks sort of perturbed, but well, we need a sacrifice of sorts.
Ah.
The wishes that
do
we
you need a
traditionally-
shrubbery?
I never
Those
need
don't grow
shrubbery.
very well out here, I'm afraid.
Sorry, I had to.
Desert climate and all.
Right.
I think I saw that play.
So,
And it's not a matter of linear time, although we, in a linear sense, we only have a matter of hours before the Queen Elsewolf breaks through here. Even the causal barrier I have isn't enough to keep her out forever. I can keep things reset enough for the time being to stalemate for at least 1 or 2 more iterations.
all right then.
So I'd prefer we didn't fuck this up any further than we already have.
That is extremely fair. So, sacrifice.
Yersinia appreciates this.
Okay, so what kind of sacrifice are we talking here?
Oh, please. You already know the answer to that.
Well, normally
Other
sort
question.
of wishes handed. Sorry.
Oh no, go for it. Yersinia can ask after.
Normally, the sort of wishes that we trade to mortal kind are birthed of their own regrets of their personal timeline, hence the broker's good work to translate those and bring them to the machine. But we are looking at the reset of an entire demi-plane here, which means that the commensurate sacrifice has to be, well, an entire universe. We need the raw potentia of dozens of timelines, hundreds, collapsed into one to provide a sufficient amount of energy.
Havelock is now looking at our never was friend with a very calculating look on their face.
Yersinia is looking at the giver of gifts, yes?
Yes.
And she's doing math in her head. You can, if you look at her closely enough, you can see little theorems go flying by behind her eyeballs.
Yup. So
a universe worth of. Essentially, what you're asking for is a universe worth of death energy, thanergetic energy.
Not specifically. Thanic energy is a byproduct of that, but what we see has a higher dimensionality.
So
say
a universe worth of dead potential energy.
Hypothetically, if, say, someone who had avoided killing the potential of any future for a considerably long time were to make a decision, would that provide the energy required?
For the first time since you've seen her, she smiles a little bit. Her teeth are in a very poor state.
Oh dear,
she
poor thing.
Looks thoroughly ragged.
Yep.
You are very clever.
Wishes give you meth mouth, apparently.
Unfortunately, even the power of the never was is still only the potentia of a single individual.
Figured it was worth trying.
It's not a bad idea, and the never was does contain enough raw potentia to collapse this plane should worse comes to worse, but even
Last
if
resorts and
everyone's
all
stuff in
that.
the half-life that they are, I'd rather not doom this plane to apocalypse just yet until I know there is no other option.
Again, fair, yes. All right.
Question.
So.
Yes.
When you are looking to end a universe's worth of, basically get a universe's worth of potential energy, let's say, what? And Yersinia glances as she's talking in you and she's doing her thing.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who hasn't spent years and years with her, or, however long time goes in the fucking Nebulous Collection, which debatable.
Mm-hmm.
She glances at Havelock. She glances at the book.
Oh yeah, no, I was just thinking the exact same thing. Yes. Havelock notices this and is like, I was just thinking something similar.
I
wonder how much decision, how much dead potential is there as Havelock like holds up the book and like kind of wiggles it a bit.
What
In,
I'm
say-
imagining is that Havelock pulls up his skirt like fucking Yzma. Like, you didn't expect this!
Yes. The book is just there. But yeah, no, Havelock like takes out the book and is like, how much dead potential is there in the decisions of hundreds, if not literal thousands of generations of people trying for immortality?
The giver looks at the book and her eyes sort of turn like oil slick iridescent for a moment as she sort of evaluates it.
Yersinia is kind of like, well, that's a yikes.
Yeah,
And
that's
she-
That's a
mm.
yikes
She
for
blinks that
PG.
away after a moment. That is a tremendous amount of potentia
Yikes, hard
That
lemonade
may-
right there.
that may be able to do the trick. However, you understand that is all wrapped up with a, well, very malign intelligence behind it, yes?
Oh yes, I am
Yeah, I
And
mean,
intimately
Even as far as
familiar
I
with
can
it.
see, I cannot guarantee what effects that malevolence would have once freed of that potentia. I can't
Havelock,
say if it would be starved to death or perhaps be pulled free.
Havelock has a very like measured look on their face, and they're like, well, I think I've just about cracked the theorem anyway. So, if ever there was a time where it would be worth putting into practice, I suppose it would be now.
Hmm.
I've been contemplating what it would be for me and the book to face off against each other in the way that's beginning to feel utterly inevitable. We're too much the same, too much of each other at this point to exist much longer the way we are. Whenever I'm hurt, I can rewrite myself. That's not normal. Or at least it wasn't normal for me.
Yersinia is like, don't fucking call me and Mithraia out.
Does,
I
not,
see.
does being not normal really mean bad, though?
It's not. Havelock like looks with a like moderately offended look at Ether. What? Do you think I'm building to some grand self-sacrifice?
Drev is just in the back with a hand up like an impatient child in class. Just, I have an idea.
What do you think this is? Some melodramatic rant before I heroically sacrifice myself for everyone?
Yersinia is like, it's very obvious that Ether is still new to the team. Don't be too hard on them.
Fair. I am going to have to confront whatever intelligence is in the book eventually, and I think I've got a grasp on how I might just do it. And come out the other side more powerful for it. I will, in essence, be the book, but not in a
I am the book,
quite,
and the book
yes.
is me.
not in a literal sense. Either way.
One of the metal fingers from the cage sort of gestures towards all of you. Walk with me.
Sure.
And the giver
Okay.
proceeds through the tangle of cables.
What is it, Dreadfussy?
I'm a walking set of like random chance magic.
Oh, that's.
I have a
that's
lot of
true.
potential energy.
Okay.
Also, I'm getting some pretty serious deja vu at this
Fair.
point.
However,
Like, we've
quick,
done this a few times, and that hurts my brain, and
Quick
I don't like
question.
it.
the potential energy,
Mhm.
does it have to pass through whatever sacrifice conduit? Like, will whatever goes into it come out the other side, barring some extremely specific circumstances?
It is not a gentle process.
I didn't think so.
Whatever the potentia is extracted and run through the engine, and, well, are any of you familiar with the principles of a hadron collider?
Oh.
Mithraia. Shockingly, Mithraia puts her hand up and goes, yes.
The broker does.
Dreadful pulls out her book
The-
of computers and just skims through to a certain page. And you're like, a large hadron collider is a bad idea, Dreadful. And
Like
closes
it's
the book.
book calling her out directly.
Yep.
If
You
Dreadful
can't-
made a large Hadron Collider, it would be a Hadron Collider that actually could start a black hole.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yep.
The giver
I
does
Can't
look at
believe the
Mithra
scientists
a bit.
behind that were like, there's a non-zero chance that this will destroy all that humanity has ever even known. Let's fucking go for it.
Mhm.
Let's do it.
I mean, that is the nature of humans and science.
Mhm. Before
Yeah.
the Manhattan Project, there was a non-zero chance that setting off the first nuclear bomb was going to
would
ignite
the
entire
atmosphere. Yeah.
So we did
Yeah.
that anyway.
And
My
like, all
dear
the
friends,
scientists,
if
like,
you
all the
aren't in
scientists that were
constant
saying that,
danger
like,
of
thank
obliterating.
Christ we were wrong.
Oh yeah, my favorite is like, if you aren't in constant danger of obliterating everything you know, you aren't really doing science.
I have to say, consider this. As if that wasn't ridiculous enough, when they invented the train, it was believed that if you went above, I think it was 45 miles per hour, your organs would explode. In particular, this was taken to a ridiculous degree with women because it was believed that your uterus would just fly the fuck out.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Which,
That
like,
thing likes to just go.
Yep. Just loves to
I
slide
really-
out of you.
not to like go too far adrift from where we should be, but like I still
Nope,
really
go on a rant. I'm here for it. Go on a rant. Go on a
I-
rant.
I'm not going to go on a full rant. We can rant more later. I really want a time machine where I can sit down with Galen and Aristotle and be like, my dudes, my boys, do you think that
You're-
organs just generally wander all over the body?
Yeah, like that's
Do you have any proof of a uterus in
I-
somebody's elbow?
They don't.
That's all I have to say. We can discuss more of this after stream.
Okay.
Continue,
Alright.
AK.
Yep.
All right. The giver leads you through a long passage of just tangled. Well, I'm going to keep reiterating tangled machinery because that's all this looks like. It's
Yep.
a little monotonous. But after a few minutes of walking, you come to what is essentially a control center that has a very what looks like an orrery
Ah.
as a
Ooh.
input, essentially.
Oh, that's cool.
A complex articulation of spheres and arcs and planetoids, suns, stars, things like that. And on the far side is a output that essentially, well, kind of looks like a faucet.
That makes sense, actually.
I'm trying to. All
I
I can
get it.
picture now that you're talking about an orrery, all I can picture is what's her face from the Dark Crystal.
Mhm.
Ogra.
I need to watch that.
It's so good.
It's very
Have you
good.
never seen the original movie?
No.
Oh, we saw that in like
Okay,
middle school.
hold
It was a
up.
fucking trip.
Hold up. We're gonna have a movie night, but we're
Okay.
gonna talk about that later. Continue.
Mhm.
AK.
And between the input and the output, there is a massively complex control center that is any number of. I don't mean in a Star Trek beeps and boops style, not a lot of screens and whatnot, but a lot of dials and levers and just complex little switches and levers that have more of a industrial look to them than anything super high tech. And the giver sort of parks herself at that control center, and a couple of the metal hands sort of gesture towards the input and says, well, let's take a measure of what you are willing to offer and hope that it's enough.
All right.
Interesting.
All right.
So let's huddle up, everyone. So, for the record, here's what I see us having. right now.
Yes.
And this is all said through the metaphor of Yersinia.
Uh-huh.
We have the book,
Sure do.
which, from the sound of it, Havelock, you've not let me in on everything, but I've got some superficial ideas. And I believe there's ways to do that, though you may want some kind of anchor to make sure that the book doesn't haul you along with it if we try to do any of this bullshit.
This will be my apotheosis or my destruction. I am under no delusions about this.
That tracks. That tracks.
I thought
Mm.
Dreadful pulls out her rock with the smiley face on it. Is like, you need an anchor.
That's a valid
This-
anchor. We've seen it work before.
That
Yeah.
Havelock like holds out their hand for it a moment, and
And Dreadful very slowly just reaches over, and she just puts it down in Havelock's hand, and just starts taking some deep breaths.
Havelock like weighs it, really feels it. Is like, Yersinia,
Uh-huh.
you can manipulate bone, yes?
I can indeed.
Hmm.
I'm not putting a unicorn horn on you. We discussed this last week.
What Havelock looks okay. That's not. We can talk about that another time. Anyway, no.
Behind her, Mithriah starts humming, "It's the last unicorn." I'm sorry, I can't help it. Continue.
Havelock just. Havelock's like, all right, if we can entwine something of this with something of myself, it could probably serve as a, well, personally keyed anchor, if you will.
Yesenia's like, "Okay, we can do that. I can make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
You aren't going to like it.
Havelock's like, says you.
Even by your standards, this is going to be a little different."
Fair. I'm quite accustomed to different these days. And Havelock just holds out their hand with the rock in it, and is like, well, do your worst.
Yesenia's like, "Okay, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna need this distributed throughout the body. I can't just ram this into your thymus gland and have it stay there."
Not with that attitude.
When I said anchor, I meant something outside, some piece of me outside of myself that I can come back to. Not,
I understand that.
Oh,
I understood the point.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here's
this
the
is
thing.
going to be a time.
The rock is an anchor,
Yup.
but you are the signature. This is essentially, we've run into this thing. It's been explained to me poorly by Dreadfesse about how you can know that there is a small particle in one place, or you can know there is a small particle. You can't know both, but we can make it possible to know both if we essentially use this and you and bring y'all closer together.
Yep.
Mithriah, stomp on this thing.
Yep. And Havelock just.
Yersinia hands the rock off to Mithriah, by the
Yup.
way, who is about to pulverize it because that's what she does.
Dreadful has been breathing deeply this whole time.
I
in the corner.
apologize, Dreadfesse, but this is how it's gonna
Having a-
be.
We'll make you a new one, promise.
No.
Someone,
She grabs it.
Nefarious,
No,
grab
no,
her.
no,
Yep, no, Nebby grabs her.
Nebby.
It'll be okay.
No.
Nefarious
She's
is just
panicking.
like-
She's visibly panicking a lot. No.
Nefarious
Your
is like,
city-
Dreadfesse.
Yersinia goes up to Dreadfesse and does like the little face pinch, the one used by great aunts and people who really want your attention and for you to shut up.
Yup.
I can give you your rock back. I can synthesize it out of Havelock. but I need to put it into Havelock in the first place.
Havelock just quietly asides to Nebulous. Under many other circumstances, this would be extremely exciting.
No,
I
I'm not
really
shoving
want
it up
Drev
your
to take a
ass.
glitch,
I
but
didn't
the thing is,
think you should.
Yeah, no, the thing is, it feels like the thing that would happen. But out of character, I know that would probably send her off to the middle of some universe somewhere.
Listen,
I mean,
right
here's
now.
the thing. We can have you start glitching. But
Yep.
from the way I look at this, both from it makes the story dramatic way, and a purely practical, I can't just, out of character. If we're going to track Havelock over, long distances, and also to give him an anchor to return to, it can't just, this is big.
We need a strong dimensional anchor, and this is the best we got.
My intention, I'm going to be real blunt, is to pulverize this rock and insert it into absolutely everything that I can of Havelock.
We want a nice, even distribution of the entire thing across all of Havelock.
Yes.
It's not going to be pleasant.
No, it's not. It's gonna suck.
I think I know what happens, though, which is while still being gripped, Dreadfuss's panic finally reaches the point where she glitches, which is a bit painful to touch, and appears basically grabbing onto Nebby's hand around the rock. She instinctually is now hugging onto Nebby's hand. Nebby's just holding her completely fine as she's clutching to where the rock is.
Mithraea
like a very big glove.
Yep.
I am so sorry, Dreadfuss, but if we're going to do what we were sent to do, and we know there's more, doesn't fucking Jan in accounting or whatever her fucking name is have, more of them?
Bunch. Oh, yeah. She's got a bunch of dimensional anchors. They're a dime a dozen.
Nebby, put her in a suplex if you need to, but we need to...
Nebulous is, handling Dreadfuss very gently, but very firmly.
This is you can Nebby is probably strong enough to remove Dreadfuss physically.
Oh yes,
but
very gently. If she's not getting off of the rock, Nebby will gently start prying her off and peeling her off like a wall sticker.
Yeah. What I'm worrying about is that I do not think Dreadfuss is a safe place to depart from this rock. It was a miracle that, well, not if she's not willing to let it get destroyed. Just
okay.
She will fight you over this. She may well lose, but she will. I don't want to have inter-party conflict, particularly because that's going to be a pain.
Dreadfuss.
Hold up. Yersinia watching this, and she's watching the sheer degree of fuss being made, and she kind of pinches her nose and goes, "Okay, fucking fine." She gives the rock back to Dreadfuss.
Sorry, I'm.
You see her.
She just fetal positions a bit. Just I can't deal with that again. I can't deal with it again.
Havelock's just looking at Yersinia. New plan?
Yes.
What do you got?
And Yersinia just casually, she pulls down, her robes to a scandalous fucking degree. Holy shit, there are very small boobs on display here. And she pulls out a knife out of one of those infinite pockets. She just gouges it into her ribcage.
Yep.
She pops one out.
Yep.
She makes a face about it, but it's the whole thing is done with the way you would pull a hangnail off.
Exactly, yeah.
She kind of flares her nostrils, tosses it on the ground, sighs, realizes that she's either going to get it back or have to grow it back eventually.
Yep.
Regardless, it's going to suck.
Ribs grow back.
They do when you're a bone. They do when you're a bone mage.
Yeah.
Anyway, Havelock's
I don't know that I have to roll for any of this. I think this is pretty standard.
Yeah, this is all very
pretty standard rib removal. It's
Havelock is at this point. Yeah, Havelock at this point just walks up to Yersinia and even as they're going, just ditches their dress. They're like, all right, let's have it then.
Yersinia kind of grabs the bone and it turns, like, it basically turns into powder.
Yep.
A very fine powder.
Mm-hmm.
Which she's like, I need an agent. I can't just shove this dry shit into you.
That's extremely fair. What did you have in mind?
We need lube. I don't fucking know. You're the fucking chemist.
Oh, wait, like actual lubricant or like metaphysical lubricant?
Both. I have to be able to inject this into you. I'm going to be tracking my own signature across whatever the fuck this is going to be.
You need you need a medium for this. Right, okay.
What? I'm not going to let you snort my ribs.
Fair. And Havelock just takes out their penknife and just like this is possibly one of the more frightening aspects of the way Havelock does things. There is utter casualness, like no response to it whatsoever. Havelock just casually opens their own wrist up very simply and just starts bleeding.
I was going to say, I feel like this is the counterpoint to Yersinia just casually ripping out her own bones.
Yeah.
These two have been around a time or two.
And for good measure, Havelock also produces a vial off of something and hands it to Yersinia. It's a sort of generic think of it as a magical amplifier. It should help. Combining my blood and your bone should make a sort of super medium that should be easy to track.
Yay, bone slurry. Here, give me a minute.
Yup.
Also, I hope...
For short.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I hope you have one of those upsettingly large syringes, because we're going to need one.
Havelock just takes one off of the garter belt they're wearing, and just twirls it a couple times and hands it to Yersinia. And
enough theatrics. Give me what I need.
Hands it to Yersinia. And then it's like, as Yersinia is mixing all of this, just mutters to himself melodramatically, "Till aught but death part we and thee."
Yersinia glances up. We are not that friendly, you and I.
It's not my fault our magic plays like it's not my fault our magic gets along like peanut butter and chocolate, Yersinia.
You got your peanut butter in my chocolate. You got my chocolate in your peanut butter. So Yersinia basically, she whips out, it's like a long stirring stick.
Ooh, is it a bar spoon? I hope it's a bar spoon.
Not really. It's more like, did anyone ever do one of those like puzzles, or not puzzles? It was a piece of black paper. It was like
yes, I know what you're talking
over
about.
A colored background.
Yeah. Those are so cool. I love the scratch arts.
Yeah. Exactly,
Scratch
something
arts
like
are
that.
awesome.
It's honestly, what it basically is like a cuticle pusher, except it's a metal one designed to blend up large quantities of powder into liquid, and that is what she does.
Perfect.
She blends together. By the way, as you know,
the super muddler.
Yeah, she brings together the bone and the blood into a disgustingly thick paste under the circumstances.
Dummy thick.
And she loads that into the syringe, and she's like, okay, where do you want me to stick this?
Havelock just cocks an eyebrow suggestively. Without a trace of anything on her face.
Yersinia meets the suggestiveness with a look of like, sure, I can stick it there if you want me to.
Havelock's just like, whatever seems most convenient. I imagine an artery would be best.
Yersinia's like, give me your thigh. The femoral's probably our best bet.
Makes sense to me. And Havelock just like holds out poses out their thigh.
Leg.
Yup.
Ether has just been looking in a different direction for a while now.
Also, yeah, Havelock
totally
Havelock ditched their dress on the way there. They're wearing crotchless panties, fishnet stockings, garter belt, and a corset.
Ether has just been like Slav squatting with their back to the last 15 minutes.
That's so great.
Yeah, no, I apologize. But yeah,
I don't.
This is the most logical thing that I can think of. So Yersinia finds the beat of the femoral with one of her fingers. Don't use your thumb to find a pulse, by the way, everyone.
Yeah,
Your
don't.
thumb has a pulse of its own.
Mhm.
She uses one of her fingers, locates it, kind of slaps Havelock's thigh, apologizes,
Ooh.
but hey, this is what we need to figure out. Once she gets something of a raise, or at least an idea, yeah, it's
Wait,
injection time, and we're not
I was
going
gonna
to go
say,
into
did
it.
you need help locating the artery? Because Havelock can make that easy.
This is what Yersinia does. She does
Okay.
like anatomy was her shtick. She's treating you like, you'll notice her behavior reminds you a little bit of like, you can't
A
tell
doctor
whether
with an
it's
anatomical
a nurse
model.
or
Or a
mortician, or a
mortician.
Actually, I was
Yep.
gonna say a coroner.
Yeah, coroner.
But-
Yep.
Like, she locates it very handily and very quickly, like alarmingly so.
Mm.
And she injects this horrible fucking blood bone slurry back into Havelock.
Yep. Havelock is looking at her with, like, still this wry grin on their face. I always did love a partner who knew what they were doing.
That makes
So-
one of us here.
Yeah. I love that they're just not, like, Havelock is being as snarky as always, and the other's just not fucking having it.
Yersinia doesn't give a shit. Yersinia
Cinia's not
Mhm.
having it.
This is
does
also kind of
not-
how they banter, is the other
Yes.
thing. This is their relationship.
Hmm.
But yeah, once everything's been depressed
Mhm.
into the artery, Yersinia kind of pulls it out, presses her hand over the alarmingly large needle gauge mark, and like
Mhm.
smacks the spot because there's a considerable bump to get it
Oh
moving.
yeah, no, that's one of those like peanut butter shots that you really got to massage into the artery. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Looks like-
and
oh.
she's like,
Yersinia, have you ever had a blood clot flowing around in your body?
not personally, but I've seen it.
Oh, it's quite something, let me tell you.
Penetration to a whole nother level. Just
You've no idea.
Nibiria, stick your thumb over this and take Havelock over there. They're going to need a minute before that can disperse through their body.
I'll try to help it along however I can.
No wanking in the room.
Why does
Because you're you, Havelock.
Like Havelock like raises their finger like they're about to, and then it's just like, no, like the look on their face is just like, no, that's fair.
I just shrug in agreement and go like, yeah, that's true. Still with my back to the gang.
Either it's done, you can look back now.
All right,
Havelock's
cool.
like-
I just stand up and turn back around.
Yep.
I like to think Dreadful has been having a fetal position panic attack next to the rock, being carried by someone for however long this has taken to deal with. Just in the corner.
Yersinia, you feel very strange.
I then squat down next to Dreadfosse, like, hey, yeah.
Your city is
right,
like,
yeah.
I don't
No.
particularly enjoy being inside of you. This is not my primary method of this.
Not like
The
this, at
sex jokes
least.
aren't helping.
I always expected this, I always expected this would happen one day, but not like this, you know?
I just like clasp my hands over Dreadfosse's ears. Like, is that helping?
No.
Genuinely, though, this
little bit.
you feel like such a strange limbo.
I would
Yep,
say,
not
though,
being able to die is fascinating.
It
It
certainly is, but
probably-
it's so different from my own.
Your city is going to turn. Sorry, Ether, you go, but yeah.
I was gonna say my hands over Dreadfosse's ears probably isn't very comfortable because they're just like flat, cold
Metal, yeah.
It's still helping a bit.
So your city, like again, she's currently like she's pulled her veil off. She's half out of her robes.
Yep.
She is one tit out and one like sort of healed rib spot bare.
Mhm.
And she turns to the giver of gifts and is like, "So how did the wolves get here in the first place?"
Your guess is as good as mine.
Just random bullshit.
If there is any pattern or method to the wolves' means of choosing where they'll strike next, I do not know of it. If there's any who has any insight into it, I do not know them.
All right.
Best we
Question.
can do is mitigate them.
Have they appeared for so I will be honest with you, giver of gifts. I don't come from a world where people like you exist. So forgive me if my questions seem ignorant. Also forgive again how I look under the circumstances. But anyway, is this something I'm under the impression this is one city out of many? Is this something that has happened to other cities?
Not that I'm aware of, though
Okay.
the wolves'
So this
attacks
is-
do have a way of messing with the ability to. Well, you've seen their effects on causality firsthand. I shouldn't need to explain
Yes.
that part. But no, I can't say I am aware of any other incursions by Elsewolves, certainly not of this scale. They are formidable opponents, and I imagine your collective multiversal nature is a big part of why you've been able to fend them off at all effectively, considering our own defenses folded quite quickly to their attack.
Were they a known threat in this world, or are they something totally new?
They are known, but usually in a mythological sense.
Ah, I see.
So,
Elsewolves are not new, but they're the sort of thing one would never expect to encounter.
Interesting. So, was there, out of curiosity, giver of gifts, and again, forgive my boldness, especially under these circumstances. We've only just met, all of that. But was there anything that preceded their showing up? A particular wish, a particular action? Even, I don't know, just something that made them pay attention to you.
She narrows her eyes and thinks for a minute and shakes her head after a minute. Nothing that comes to mind. By everything I am aware of, it seems to be
oh dear.
simple misfortune. Misfortune is normally something we Jin are very skilled at avoiding, but when you have a foe who's able to outlast the very powers that give us our, well, power, it is a rather perfect storm of misfortune.
Yersinia nods. It's like, all right. Sometimes bad luck or good luck just happens.
I suppose it does.
Notably, what up here, presuming that Yersinia has just been like, has her death sense, her death scenting ability, what does she smell up here?
Absolutely nothing.
Interesting.
It's like you're smelling a void.
Including around the giver of gifts, I presume.
Yes.
Okay.
Behold an absence.
Essentially, yeah.
Oh, you're sitting. Yin, this is what is about to happen is your fault, and I want you to know that.
Okay. Whatever it is, I am full of pleased willingness to be the source of the chaos.
Oh, you'll love it.
Go for it.
Yeah, so Havelock's looking distinctly not fucking well. They're sweaty and pale and, well, more pale than usual. They're starting to look a little translucent. It's not great.
A little peaky.
Yeah, a little peaked. You're seeing a lot more of their veins than you'd have expected. Not in the bulging out sense, but just they're drained of color enough that you can see them. And Havelock, Nibirius is like standing over and like helping Havelock, and Havelock almost impulsively just latches onto Nibirius's arm and just takes a big ol' hearty bite out of it. And that seems to help a little. Nibirius, for their part,
watches this just happen with the...
Yup.
flat disinterest of an academic.
Exactly.
I like the idea that Jefferson coming down a bit is still covered. Just sort of looks over to what's going on with the others and sees this scene and like looks away very rapidly.
Yep. Havelock just takes a couple of bites out of Nebulous, and Nebulous, for their part, like flinches a bit when it happens, but otherwise just like gives Havelock, like keeps stroking Havelock's hair and head and everything, and is just like, "You're okay, don't worry." And they're not bleeding per se. There's like this weird blackish stuff that like oozes out of the wound and seems to cover it and seems to like cover and seal pretty quickly, for lack of a better term, on Nebulous. But like Havelock is doing that and is like, that should help. Love can always find you. Yesenia,
Yesenia's like,
this is bad.
Why? What?
No, it just feels bad. I don't like this liminal feeling at all. At all.
Two great tastes that taste great together, except not for you.
The giver looks Havelock up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Are you quite ready? You will be channeling an entire universe's potentia through you.
Sure
Even
will.
even with what your companion has done for you, I can't make any guarantees of your integrity, or for that matter, hers. And she nods towards Dreadfusay.
Havelock just kind of laughs. Oh, I knew this would not be a pleasant time going in. Bit late to back out now anyway. This will... Yes. This will be my chrysalis or my erasure. I'm aware of that. So, let's see if we can't make some real magic happen.
She
That's an
gestures
amazing
towards
fucking
the
line.
orrery that makes up the input, and it sort of reconfigures itself into something that looks a bit like a dentist's chair. Whenever
Spectacular.
you're ready.
Havelock manages to get themselves up and, like, just walks over to it. They're looking, you know, like they've just done all of the drugs and they're not playing nice together, but they're present, and they get in the chair. Well, whatever happens now, it's been a hell of a ride, friends.
Yesenia kind of comes along and just like puts a hand on Havelock's shoulder, just like, one way or another, I'm going to find you. You owe me a rib.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
I think Dreadfusay is still a mess, but she walks over and I think nicking Yesenia's idea, just puts a hand on the shoulder and just says, good luck. And she does not remove that hand. And you
Thank
feel
you,
the rock
Doctor.
still in her hand, just pushed against the shoulder.
Oh,
Like, she ain't giving it back, but she's gonna stand here the whole fucking time with it.
oh, you care after all. Who'd have thought? All right. And Havelock, Havelock just, the book, for the first time, Havelock just unwinds the chains from the book and it just kind of does its own thing. And the book, the book just kind of starts, like, Havelock is holding up their hands, and between them, the book is just kind of floating there. And Havelock has this unblinking stare at it as it starts flipping through pages. And that should start whatever needs to start.
The giver looks over at you, and the metal hands are adjusting many dials and levers and sort of making adjustments and she whispers a prayer in some language you're not familiar with. And
Bismillah.
say Old Sumerian,
Ooh, fancy.
That too.
appropriate. Although
Very.
you might be more familiar with that. And she pulls the lever.
All right. So, Havelock and the book. The pages start turning faster and faster, and for all intents and purposes, Havelock is becoming words? Words start sort of appearing all over Havelock's skin, and as they're just staring at the book, it just seems like there just becomes more and more intense energy around. The whispers that everyone's always heard when the book was open near them are now like very clearly audible, like sentences and phrases. Some of them in languages that can be understood, and most of them are about. It's so much random information all at once. It's someone discussing what they had for breakfast that day. It's someone talking about the first the night of their first night of their honeymoon. It's someone talking about the death of a loved one, or it's just the life story of so many people and intersections of events and things all kind of happening at once. And it's becoming less and less intelligible as it intensifies.
Dreyfus stood right next to this.
Mm-hmm.
I think she just sort of turns to Ethan and is like, "Can you cover my ears again, please?" I just love the idea of like Havelock sat there, Dreyfus' hand on, Ether just fingers in Dreyfus' ears.
Unfortunately,
it doesn't help.
Doesn't do much to drown this out.
Yeah, no, this is all in your heads. This is in everyone's minds.
This is transmitted through sound. This is the very air around you becomes information.
Close my eyes and start growling to myself, just like.
Yersinia not having a good time.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like, she's breathing. She has the posture and the breathing pattern of somebody who has been in extreme pain before and knows how to cope, but who doesn't like it either. And she's there is stuff coming out of her tear ducts, and you could mistake it for blood, except for the fact that it seems to be ink, and it seems to be writing words down her cheeks. And again, it's garbage bullshit nonsense. It's pick up milk at the store. It's your deductible is under $1,000. It's you must appear in court to appeal this traffic ticket. It's all this bullshit, and it's dripping off of her face onto the floor where it continues to write words.
Havelock is there seems to be almost, as you're watching, like, words start flowing from Havelock into the book, and I didn't plan a lot of this in advance. This is all kind of on the fly, so I apologize if it's a bit discordant.
It's working pretty nicely, so
I'm
continue.
having fun, yes. And Havelock, just starts muttering sounds. They're just nonsense gibbering sounds.
Speaking in tongues.
Oh yeah, like Havelock is speaking in tongues right now. Like
Glossolalia.
it's a lot. And then
we've gone full Namshub, everybody. Hold on to your butts.
Words start flowing. Havelock, like, seems to reach out and really grab the book, and words start flowing from it onto Havelock. And as that happens, you all start seeing, or, like, hearing specific things. More, like, in Havelock's own voice, even, in your heads. It's just, like, just different journal entries they've done of, like, experiences they've had, or, like, Havelock at a dinner table with their family, or when they met Nebulous and the stuff they got up to then. The time they went to the house of the setting sun.
In high def.
In excruciating. Some of it is just in excruciating detail, but a lot of it is just like, you know, like the weird pervy shit Havelock gets up to aside. A lot of it is just like the bonds with the different people that you, like all of you, things that
I gotta imagine it pushes through too fast to even really meaningfully process.
That's the other thing, yeah, is like you feel like someone is taking like the entirety of like the Oxford English Dictionary and just shouting all of the words into your mind simultaneously. It's horrible and really overwhelming. But words are flowing from the book onto Havelock. And you start to notice some of them might start flowing onto everyone else.
Yersinia turns around and she vomits, and she just vomits out what looks like fucking Lorem Ipsum all over the floor.
Yup.
And through all of this, the machine around you is thrumming and pulsing as though it were an artery. And even though it's hard to hear over just the volume of information being pushed through here, it itself is almost roaring. And the only thing you can clearly see through all of this mess is the giver herself, arms wide, staring at the machine in almost an irreverent sort of way. And after a period of time, the overflow becomes such that even she is obscured, and the entirety of the world around you becomes overwhelmed with this information, with just this raw potentia.
And as you're going through, it is just the shouting of words. You are, like, in flashes of insight. Like, what feels like knowledge just poured directly into your mind faster than you can comprehend. You're experiencing life, like, an entire person's life in a matter of, like, eye blinks. From the time they find the book to the time the book does what it always does. And your experience, like, Havelock especially is just experiencing it over and over again. And still they're managing to take it in. And words are like, there just seem to be more and more words. Havelock is becoming more, is what seems to be the general gist of it. It's beginning to be painful to be near him.
Dreadful lowers her goggles.
Daring.
Yersinia pukes up the entire text of what seems to be one of Havelock's old college textbooks.
Yup.
Just all over the floor, and it's all in Times New Roman, goddammit.
Oh, God, it would be, wouldn't it? Oh. And, several minutes of this go by before finally, like, the book itself seems to start unwinding it just into words and winding itself around and into Havelock. And at this point, like, it's been hard to hear over any of it, but, like, you're pretty sure Havelock's been screaming this entire time. It's, like, more of the nonsense gibberish mouth sounds, and, like, Havelock's eyes are just these solid black orbs at this point.
Notably, despite the fact that, like, vomit is word vomit, literally.
Literal word vomit.
Dripping out of her mouth. Yersinia sees this, and she sees that Havelock, at the very least, is struggling with the battle that she's fighting, and she's with him too.
Yup.
She can do a thing or three.
Mhm.
What dice do you want me to roll?
Yeah, what should we be
AK?
rolling for this?
This is like
I'm not
metaphorical off-camera bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what sort of dice would be appropriate for something like this. We're dealing with something that's so outside of the bounds of just any arbitrary definition of success or failure
Mm,
that I honestly don't even know that a dice roll would really be appropriate here.
That's fair.
Because like this is, for all intents and purposes, the future of your character, possibly characters, depending on who else
Yeah.
is
mm.
influenced here, and that doesn't
That's
seem
a
like
lot.
the sort of thing that just hinges on even a couple of dice rolls.
That's fair.
I know
That's
you're
part of why
yeah.
this part I'm sitting back and letting you guys talk, because I'm not going to say, oh, this happens to you guys. This is what happens when you quantum entangle an entire universe. I don't fucking know, man.
All right.
I've got plenty of things written, but not this.
Havelock, I know I think I know what's about to happen. I have some ideas.
I honestly just like the idea of this Dread say like just sitting there for the whole thing. Just like a dog with its head stuck out the car, except terrified.
Except terrified. Oh.
Yeah. Just I know exactly what's gonna happen when this ends.
Uh-huh.
But she's just stood there for the ride until that point.
Mm-hmm. All right. Havelock. As things continue. Oh, is Yersinia like? I know Yersinia is definitely helping, and none of this would be possible without what she's doing to help.
Yeah, no, she kind of come and she like
Through it.
because she can feel, and she's feeling what Havelock is feeling because she's in Havelock. She's part of Havelock right now, and she's just grabs like onto a hand and hang on. I'm looking for a really good quote. Give me one quick fucking second.
That's
real fast, just because.
No, take your time.
I want this to be extra and
everyone
profound.
hydrate.
This is a good time to be extra.
Yeah,
I've got
here,
some
hang
extra
on.
stuff to add once you're extra.
1.
Oh, where did it fucking go?
2.
Oh, here we are. Here, I
3.
found it.
4.
I can connect nothing with nothing.
5.
The dirty fingernails of dirty hands, my humble people who expect nothing. To Carthage then I came, burning, burning, burning. O Lord, thou pluckest me out. O Lord, thou pluckest. Burning.
And as you're speaking, like, you've felt Havelock just slowly sinking into this, like, this mire of information. Like, as this has been happening, even as Havelock is trying to absorb all of this, you've felt, like, just the anchor of Havelock and their consciousness and sense of themselves slowly, like, dissipating into this. But you're speaking, like, as you're saying things, you feel, metaphysically speaking, a sort of hand come out of that, like, pool and just grab on tight.
Yersinia grabs back and she continues.
Good.
Who is the third who always walks beside you? When I count, there are only you and I together, but when I look ahead up the white road, there is always another one walking beside you. Gliding wrapped in a brown mantle hooded, I do not know whether a man or a woman, but who is that on the other side of you?
Havelock's skin starts looking strange. Havelock's sense of self is getting stronger. Their skin starts to look parchment-y, for lack of a better word, at the moment. And the words sprawling themselves along are just, in a multitude of languages, seem to be constantly flowing down their body now, in just an endless picture the Matrix opening, but black ink on
Mhm.
parchment.
Hmm.
It's kind of like
Ooh.
that now.
I've worked
And
out- I've worked out how Dreadfuse's coping. Sorry, go on.
oh yeah, I was about to say, how is Dreadfuss coping with all of this? I don't know that you feel it
Um,
anywhere near as intensely. Yersinia and Havelock are like metaphysically linked right now in a
Yeah.
very big way.
I feel like because Aether, I think, I'm presuming being mostly robot probably helps, but well, that's
I mean, the brain is still completely.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that's the sensitive bit. Fuck.
yeah, no,
Um,
Aether's having like both you, Aether, everyone in the vicinity that isn't like directly linked to Havelock the way Yersinia is just having. You're all just experiencing like lifetimes flashing before your eyes very quickly. Like it's
And I
fast.
don't like it.
It's fast enough that you can't really make sense of any of it, but it's just like so much information.
and Dreyfus isn't coping well,
That's
but
fair.
basically what she's doing is she is gripping tight to Havelock's shoulder as much as it's that is not a nice feeling.
Yup.
But she does, and she just repeats in her head and sort of muttering a little bit. I'm going to help my friend. I'm going to help my friend. I'm going to help my friend. Just over and over and over and over. Just
Havelock. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I dig it. Havelock, Yersinia, even as you're starting to pull Havelock out of this, they're different now. Like the ink that seemed to cover them, they seem to be being pulled out of, isn't going away. It reminds you very much of their Shoggoth creatures. It's that like iridescent black on water type thing. And that is the form that seems to be like what so much is there as far as you can feel sense. And as Havelock's like parchmenty-ness starts to become Havelock, their body in its entirety just seems to be slowly like crumpling into itself almost. Even as the feeling of Havelock's like being there grows stronger for you, Yersinia. So I imagine everyone else is possibly a little alarmed watching Havelock sort of crumple into themselves. Sort of like what happens when it looks a lot like what happens when Havelock like eats something. And then it gets like everything reaches this sort of crescendo feeling, like it is just an unbearable buzzsaw keening in the mind of just rapid fire information, and then complete silence. And
Yersinia has something to add
Yes.
to that silence.
Ooh, of course.
Give me 1 second because my fucking phone ate it because of
Oh,
course
no.
it fucking did.
Sorry.
Launch.
I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine.
If you need a moment, I have something I can also add in there.
Okay, add in that while I find my fucking quote. God damn.
Sure.
Yup.
I've been cock-blocked by the internet.
Oh no.
So, in this crushing mess of worlds and memories and flashes and reflections and things like that, collectively, for all of you, there is a specific moment that your consciousnesses all collectively linger on for about a minute. And in this moment, you find yourselves in an ocean of black ink, essentially. A literal ocean, waves and tides, and above you a sky that is blackened and rumbling with thunder and lightning. And for the size of this ocean, you find yourself kneeling in it. And in the distance on the horizon, there is a bright light, a figure almost angelic in appearance that is striding towards you, slow, purposeful strides. They have a sword in one hand, and although their face is obscured with a light like a rising sun, you can feel the burn of their hatred as their gaze fixates on you. And they approach over the course of 30, 40 seconds. And then
I
they
found
stop.
it. Continue. AK.
And they say to you with an odd sort of gentleness, "Your demented work ends here. Die now with the eternal souvenir of not having conducted your sad, sad scheme to its end." And from your own mouth, in a voice that is not yours, but that sounds very matronly and familiar, "It's too late. Everything's already gone. Everything's already lost." And the angel replies, "I know, but I prefer this over your victory." And the memory ends when the blade comes down. Yin, over to you.
My friend, what have we given? Blood shaking my heart, the awful daring of a moment's surrender, which an age of prudence can never retract. By this and this only we have existed, which is not to be found in our obituaries or in memories draped by the beneficent spider, or under seals broken by the lean solicitor in our empty rooms. Dayad Havam. I have heard the key turn in the door once and turn once only. We think of the key, each in his prison. Thinking of the key, each confirms a prison. Only at nightfall, ethereal rumors revive for a moment broken Coriolanus. The boat responded gaily to the hand expert with sail and oar. The seal was calm. Your heart would have responded gaily when invited, beating obedient. And Yersinia crouches down into Havelock's ear. Two controlling hands.
Yep. And that is the moment that, like, what's left of Havelock looking like essentially just a crumpled up ball of parchment at this point, and not much of one. Just Yin or Yersinia would definitely feel it first, as far as like
Yeah, she's
now
been
it's
getting parchmenty as a side effect of this.
A
We should
bit,
probably
yes.
mention that.
Yeah, a bit, yeah. And Havelock very suddenly, like, in that moment of just pure silence as everything seems to stop for a moment, the parchment seems to almost melt into this, like, that black, almost oozy substance that Havelock's Shoggoths are made from, and then seems to start expanding outward again. As Yersinia, in your, metaphysically speaking, you start seeing, Havelock still covered in that black ink, just coming out to where, like, the edge of this endless ocean of stuff is. And still with one hand in it, just starting to, like, exist as themselves again. But very different now. As Havelock begins to sort of reform in where this is. Or, like, back into the chair. As themselves, more or less. The marks that have covered them since the beginning are just gone. And as Havelock finally comes back to, they look nearly the same. Aside from the lack of marks, and finally they open their eyes and they are just these shining black spheres. The only color in them seems to be this, or the only thing in them seems to be this ring of bright white where their iris would be normally. Oh yeah, we're going there. Of course we're going there. And
so Yersinia has done all the talking thus far, but this is Mithraya's moment because she looks up at what she sees in Havelock, and what she says is, "Son of man, you cannot say or guess, for you only know. A heap of broken images where the sun beats, and the dead tree gives no shelter, the cricket no relief, and the dry stone no sound of water. And I will show you something different from either your shadow at morning striding behind you or your shadow at evening rising to meet you. I will show you fear in a handful of dust."
And at that, Havelock smiles and is... The silence seems to carry on. It reduces to a more gentle babble as Havelock seems to close their eyes and focus and breathes in and out. And each time they breathe out, the noise seems to quiet down a bit more. And they look down at themselves. They're like... Well, this is different. We are Havelock, and yet are more and less and the same. It's very strange.
Can I ruin the moment?
Go for it.
Dreadful just carefully lifts the rock back into both hands and goes, "Havelock, I think I'm gay."
And Havelock does just slowly turn their head to regard Dreadfuss.
She is quite... You can tell that she's trying to make some sort of reference, but she's very, very shaky. So it's just I think I might be gay. Havelock, say the line. Say the line.
It's... What?
It's at this point.
That is what's playing, correct.
The Dreyfusay turns upward and vomits while shouting rainbows, puking a magical stream of colours out of her mouth and then collapsing to the floor.
Havelock just looks like, oh dear. Oh good lord. Havelock looks to everyone and is like, I'm deeply sorry about all of that. And there's this myriad nature to the way Havelock's voice is now.
Like three voices in one sort of thing.
Yeah.
Essentially, yes. Havelock, that is the way Havelock speaks now. It just sounds like people in chorus almost. It's
Check
a lot.
VC share. I posted what should this what
Yes,
this should
no,
sound
this is
like.
absolutely what it should sound like. I can't play it because Twitch is fucking
Twitch is a
dumb.
bastard.
Twitch is an evil bastard, but yeah.
You survive.
Yep.
Sorry.
And the giver has essentially been ignoring your collective goings on there. She only looks towards the output.
Yep.
And as the machine begins to hum to a halt, she rushes over and produces what looks like a potion bottle,
Mm.
and something slides out of the output and falls very heavily into the bottom of that bottle, almost gelatinous.
Mm.
It looks like starlight, but it is a deep, dark shade of purple, almost like a grape. And her eyes shine as she holds it. And as she is collecting and evaluating this, there is the entire floor under you suddenly shudders and shakes like an earthquake.
Mm.
And she says very calmly, well, the wolf is on her way, but no matter. I think we did it.
And Havelock just takes a deep breath, and if you want to picture kind of what Havelock sounds like now, it's like their normal voice combined with like chaos from Hades is the best way to put it.
Yeah, get that extra little echo in there.
I love it. All right, but yeah, they're I gave most all of what we could to that. We're different now, fundamentally.
I am impressed that you survived that.
Frankly,
seems-
so are we.
Well, it seems you had some very good help there.
Havelock does look up to everyone, thankfully, but very especially Yersinia. And Mithraia. And Nibirius.
Yersinia is
Mm-hmm.
still like leaking ink in less coherent words out of her face.
Havelock is Havelock at this point does get up and walk over to Yersinia and just very gently is like, "You've done enough for me, friend. Thank you." And just puts their hand against her face, and the words and ink seem to flow back into Havelock. Words appear all down their arm and like start covering a lot of their body and then just sink into them.
I was thinking Yersinia would like grab face to face, hand to hand.
Yeah, exactly. That works. I like that. And that is, yeah, Havelock just gets the rest of it off of and out of her. Is like, "You've done more than enough for me, friend. Thank you. I am
like
the ink that writes the story now."
Yersinia kind of like pants and it's like, "I am glad I am only the quill this one time." And you see like in her hand, there's this swirling mess of ink-stained bone, like liquid bone, that she basically just slaps in through the still present open wound in her ribs.
Yup.
And as it seals up, you can see there's just a little line of words.
Oh, yes.
Just stitched into her skin.
Aww.
Quote unquote. Dear internet, please stop fucking cock blocking me on this. I just need
So
you to
good.
work Poetry Foundation.
The
Written into her ribs is, "Till human voices wake us and we drown." That's it. I apologize to all fans of T.S. Eliot listening to this. I'm sure he'd be pissed, but I don't care. Move on.
The tower begins to buckle underneath you, and in the distance you can hear that strange buzzsaw howl that you heard on approach to the tower.
So, do we have to hold back our friend here, or have you got this?
Oh no, This should be strong enough to push back even the Queen Wolf's reality. The giver holds the bottle close towards her chest, and you see it start to glow with a violet sort of light. As she does so, it says, the 5, 6, the lot of you work very well together.
We do our best.
I'm surprised the Sultanate could find such good help for us. You did come just in time, after all.
I bet Trevor's still just lying on the floor for all this in a pool of rainbow vomit.
Oh, poor Dreadfussy.
I like the idea that one of the NPCs is just prodding her with a stick.
Yeah, like Nebby will as soon as Havelock finishes helping Yersinia, Nibirius does just pick up Havelock in an enormous bear hug and just kiss them immediately. And just I'm glad you're back safe. And then puts Havelock down, ruffles his hair a bit, and walks over to Dreadfussy and just picks her up. Just there.
To get rid of the sick.
Yep, just takes out a handkerchief and starts wiping away with the rest of it, and it's just there, it's okay.
It's what the I heard so many things about a thing called a Sonic. It was having so much sex.
God. Oh no.
Why would anyone want to have sex with that? It's so small and blue.
Damn it. Oh, God.
Yeah, Mithraia kind of heaves Yersinia onto her shoulder.
Yep.
And also, if she was to pull down, she can feel it, but she isn't going to. She's not as fond of just casually disrobing half her body as Yersinia sometimes is.
Oh,
she can feel lettering that matches Yersinia's. It's a different line of the same poem written into her own skin.
Awesome. And yeah, Havelock's well, we do our best.
Oh, you know what? The one in Mithraia, Yersinia's, I mentioned before, is till human voices wake us and we drown. Mithraeus is let us go then, you and I. Just written in opposite, basically it's opposite such that it's the same side if they're standing. So it's on Yersinia's left and Mithraeus' right.
Okay. Excellent.
They are bookending ends of a poem.
Yes.
Because I'm a nerd and I can't help it.
That's valid as hell. But Havelock's just things are going to be a bit different now.
Yersinia blows a wad of congealed ink out of a sinus and goes, "You fucking think?"
I just love that this stream has simultaneously bookending of a really cool poem stuff, which is really cool, and me vomiting rainbows and talking about Sonic porn.
Somewhere, T.S. Eliot is either pissed as hell or he is so fucking pleased he doesn't have words for it.
Yup.
Frankly, given I don't know. I don't think that Elliot has been canceled for anything. Given what I know about him, he seems like a pretty decent, normal person. And I feel like he would, at the very least, be amused by what we've done.
T.S. Eliot's
for the time it was a bit weird. But,
was that the book for Practical Cats? Was that one?
Yes, he wrote Cats.
Yeah. He wrote the stage production
he did not write the stage production. No,
he wrote the poem book.
The stage production, due to the estate, is bizarrely close to the original book of poems. And why it's
T.S. Eliot. What was if that's the case, then T.S. Eliot's widow, when approached by Lloyd Webber or
Andrew Lloyd Webber,
did the yeah. What if the play were a bit like Hot Gossip? Oh, he would have liked that. I feel like T.S. Eliot would have liked this.
Yes.
Good. Good.
So, what the hell is happening? Ow, I just put my hand on a hot lamp. Continue. And not
Havelock's
a
just
sexy
like
lamp, just a hot,
I-
temperature-wise lamp.
the book. Well, I finally have my answer to what the book was. It was its own sort of entity. It simply existed. The book was simply a convenient form it took. I can still feel it. It's a part of me now. It's this gnawing emptiness at the center of my being. I understand why it did what it did. It's knowledge. It seeks anything to fill that void.
Mithrai's not going to be helpful. She's going to go, when you go gnawing emptiness, she's like, you need a hot dog.
Havelock just cocks an eyebrow at this.
Just get some fucking protein powder and leave us all alone.
It's-
I'm so tempted to say pull out the infinite source again, but I think she lost it.
Like, I'm not going to lie. Mithrai is more, like, the reason Mithrai is acting like this isn't just because it's funny. It's
Yep.
also because she's seen what just happened with Yersinia, and given that Mithraia and Yersinia essentially, Dax described them aptly as sort of two halves of a system. Mithraia
Yeah.
ain't pleased.
Oh
It
yeah,
is-
I should say that like the parchmentiness does go away, like for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
FYI,
no.
It is 9 o'clock, and I haven't
Oh.
had dinner yet, so I'd like to be done within the
Yeah,
next
let's
hour.
get done.
Oh, yes.
We can do that easily.
Yes, we can. All right.
So,
So, sorry, just
no, it's okay. It's totally, it's a thing. I also have other things I want to do. This is just so
Mhm.
much fun.
This is fun.
So,
the
AK, go.
The giver takes the wish, and sort of there is, in a manner as to when you first approach the city, there is a expanding sort of shockwave of light that envelops you and everything, but this time it is the shade of violet rather than blue.
Mm.
And in a single flash of a moment, everything goes white and then returns to some state of normalcy. And when things kind of come back into vision, there is sunlight coming through the windows. The wishing engine is still a tangle of machinery that surrounds you. The giver's eyes are still bloodshot and tired. She pulls out a device that almost looks like a compass, consults with it a moment, snaps it shut. I believe we were successful. I'm detecting a baseline level of normalcy. The causal roots have been corrected. Not sensing any Elsewolf activity. A smile starts to creep across her face. I think we did it.
Well, that's excellent.
Well, I sort of takes a deep breath and like has the energy of someone that just completed a massive undertaking or project and finally has a moment to like breathe and think, and almost sort of collapses on herself, but it seems to be in relief. And after a minute of sort of catching herself and composing herself, she refocuses her attention on you and says, well, it is not easy for me to admit, but I now find myself in your collective debt.
Oh.
Is there is there something I can do for you?
Who has the wish bit?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It could be Havelock if no one else thought to have it. It's
I
fine.
believe it was handed to. I believe it was handed to Havelock.
Okay.
I don't recall.
I would just like to say something out of character for
yeah.
briefly.
Yep.
So for like 70, maybe 80% of the session, we've just been completely spacing out and have no idea what's happened. Like, not even
I recommend
slightly.
That was me
re-listening
last
to
week, to be
it.
fair.
Yeah.
So
It's a
sorry.
lot.
Because, like, I've given...
Havelock is a
I
book
have
now.
put-
I've thrown up rainbows. You know,
Havelock's
the
a
usual.
book. Yersinia is quoting turn-of-the-century poets.
Yup.
You'll have to go back and
Yeah.
redo it, because I'm
Oh,
not
I
doing
will.
that
Like,
again.
I did not expect. We are not expecting anyone to explain what happened. Just putting it out there. No fucking clue what's happened. I'm deeply sorry.
Again, this was
That's
me
fine.
last week.
Sorry if I
You're-
kind of monopolized this one, by the
No,
way.
I feel like this worked.
It worked
No.
well. I'm glad I'm glad I did it. It worked out well. I just hope I didn't like step on any toes.
No,
We
you
all
were
know-
great.
I think everyone contributed a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
You did the rib, I did the rock. Aether covered my ears. It's fine.
I tried to have everyone able to like do stuff for this as well as the other thing.
Mm.
This might be my favorite bit of lore I've ever bullshitted up, actually.
It's fairly fantastic. But yeah, no, like...
All right.
To continue so that people
Yes,
can
yes.
go eat.
I need to commission new art from Merc because I have some ideas for how
We will.
Havelock's appearance has changed. Yeah, Havelock does take out the wishing piece and just AK, just so I'm clear in my understanding of our assignment, we are to get the rest of the wish that this came. We are to bring her back a wish. Yes.
Essentially, yes.
Okay. Havelock's like takes out the bit of wish in a bottle and is like, if you could get
Shove
this
the rest
into
of that in there.
yeah, if you could get this into a complete wish that we could bring back, that would be quite excellent.
She cocks her head somewhat curiously. Restoration of an old wish? That's a odd request. It's doable. Certainly, she takes it from you and
Okay.
does not put it in the input, but slots it in another part of the machine and starts to manipulate the
A chili
the
dog, maybe.
components there.
Oh gods.
and as she does,
Who
things
is like sorting their silverware?
Oh, sorry. I'll mute my mic.
All right.
Okay, continue, AK. I'm
she-
sorry, I was getting distracted by forks.
as
That was our bad for not muting.
Moving on.
And as she works the machine, sort of asks with almost a bit of casualness to her voice, like, your coming here was, well, it can't have been a coincidence. Who gave this to you?
Havelock like looks around and like,
Isn't he's like someone called Jane?
yeah, Jane.
Jane.
Card?
What was their stupid fucking name? Mithraia, you will remember these things. It was like Jane Card Holder, Card
Card
person
holder.
who puts
Wait,
in pocket.
I think it's card holder. That's what they call themselves anyway.
Bit odd.
There's a small but perceptible change in the giver's demeanor when you say that. It's sort of, well, I'm not sure how to describe it, but she goes from having that sort of tense mania to suddenly being somewhat relaxed for the first time in who knows how long. to that, some of that tension sort of returns visibly to her.
Yep, that's
Like,
valid.
You don't mean
What? I
the
What?
the
Not to
flood.
break the fourth wall, but you kind of cut out there during the bit where you went.
Was that
Okay,
deliberate?
You're saying you got this from.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you're
That's right. It's like, this is some lale lule low bullshit. And
Oh, dear.
True
She said
City's like, the
something,
fuck you
but
talking about?
it doesn't quite come through for you.
yeah, no,
Like,
this.
Yeah, like Havelock is making very like you're saying a name, I presume, and I'm hearing static.
I'm gonna try saying a few names quick to see if that works. Jane, Steve, Jeremiah,
Your
We-
mom.
your
We can-
mom.
We can. I'm pretty sure we can
No,
still
I
hear
just-
names,
I like
Dreadfussin.
the idea that she's just rambling names in the background of this whole conversation.
God. Yep.
Well, all those names come through fine. I can tell
Yeah,
you.
no,
that.
she's not going to find out the name like doing this unless she reads the entire dictionary of names and finds the
even
page
then-
that reads.
Yep.
Yeah, no dice there. All the names come through fine, but the giver does her best to mask what seems to be a rising sense of panic,
Oh dear.
and the engine sort of hums to life and performs a very similar, although much more subdued version of the routine that it just did. The same sort of pulsing hum.
Okay.
And the giver sort of completes her task there and then sort of sits back in her throne, almost a little bit somewhere between surprised and dazed.
Hmm.
And she mumbles something at you a couple more times, and each time it's this sort of wordless static that you hear.
Hmm. Havelock like
And
shrugs politely. They're like, I can't make sense of the name. I'm sorry. We're not like unleashing some horrible dread power on the universe by bringing this back, are we?
Yersinia, like, blows the rest of the ink out of her sinuses and goes, would this really be that different from what we've done every other fucking time?
Fair, but
I think if we could bring it back, but use it as a bargaining chip for more information.
Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how that works out for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's wise.
How unwise would it be in comparison to the other antics we've pulled this week? My point.
Nothing wrong with at least asking.
Or the engine finally hums to a stop after a relatively brief period of activity, and the giver extracts the vial, now much brighter, much fuller, essentially, and sort of absently hands that back to you. Says, "Oh, there wasn't much left there. It's not much of a wish, but this should clear that old debt and begin another." She curses in Sumerian.
Oh dear.
Pulls me out of one debt, drags me into another. Isn't that the way?
Oh.
Well, take it to her. We'll clear that off the books.
Out of idle curiosity, if you can't tell us what their name is, can you tell us who she is to you?
To me, an old friend that's grown distant.
Ah.
To many others, she is a flood. She's a flood of wicked thoughts. She is as quiet and dark as the depths of a lake, like she tempts us all to drown.
Hmm.
You have hot summers where you come from.
I do.
High
Yes.
August that burns you from
Mm.
above. The air itself seems to, well, even in those hottest summers, even at the height of August, there are still places in the water, still places in the depths of the lake where you can still freeze to death.
Ah.
That's her.
I'm not following. I'm
Jeez.
going to be honest.
Havelock just looks like a bit perturbed. Oh.
Yersinia like, can we please find somewhere where I can puke out the rest of the ink in my gut?
I mean,
Fair.
I've already-
Fair.
Private.
They're all going to
I'm
have to
full
clean
of
up my
toner.
thing.
I'm full of your fucking toner. It's not great.
It's yeah, fair, fair. That's extremely fair. Well, there's
And-
probably some restrooms at the TGI Fridays.
You, well, the giver sort of gestures for you to leave. Essentially,
Mhm.
she still seems a little bit like the broker will show you
Out.
out of here.
Mm.
Thank you again for what you did. No matter her involvement, there's still no replacing the good that you did here today.
Mithraea turns to the giver and goes, question. Could you get another one of these brokers? Can I keep this one?
Can I keep this one?
She actually chuckles at that a bit, in spite of herself.
She's like, I'd ask the fucking
grown
never was,
fond
but
of them, have you?
I feel like they don't want to ruin shit in this universe. Okay, I get that. I do. But maybe I'm also somebody who didn't get a chance to do everything in their universe, but I get to do it in where I am now. Maybe they get to do it with me as a friend. It would be nice to have somebody who kind of gets it.
Havelock just has this look
She
of
thinks.
aw on their face.
She thinks and smiles. Says, well, I can always find another broker. And I admit that a never was can be perplexing to deal with at the best of times. And I doubt they have any objections, do they? And she sort of smiles towards the never was, who is this entire time just sort of been sitting and staring into space. So, this is very well. I'll consider that debt paid.
Mithraea goes over, picks up the never was, goes like, look, I get that you don't want to make a choice here, but I can take you somewhere where you get to make choices. In the hypothetical world where you get to make choices, would you want to go somewhere where you got to make choices? If you one way or another, I'm taking you there, but I do want to give you the opportunity.
Back and forth, and sort of does a small shrug, and I suppose.
Okay, you're coming with me. Let's go. Let's go get. Let's get you some choices.
Yep. And Havelock, oh, I have so many ideas for what I'm gonna do with Havelock now.
There is a set of spiral stairs that lead down from the peak of the tower that you've been in, and just a floor below this is essentially a iridescent sort of pool of water that, look, you've all dealt with interplanar travel.
Oh yeah.
you can very easily tell. Okay, here's the gate.
There's a portal.
Mhm. It seems to be the giver's sort of personal portal, but obviously she's giving you the authorization here for a one-way trip.
Mm. And yeah, Havelock just steps into it.
You are shunted neatly through time and space. It's a much
Excellent.
quicker and kinder transition than the one that you had getting here.
Oh, that's.
And you suddenly find yourself in a slightly nicer than usual TGI Fridays.
Garcinia gets to the TGI Fridays and realizes she had to pull her fucking robes back on, and she's like half tits.
The
She's
Cinco de
tired. She just
Mayo.
wants margarita. She doesn't care.
Yep.
The Cinco de Mayo decorations are gone. And now it's all decked out in red, white, and blue, and there's a lot of like
It's the 4th of July now,
firework
isn't it?
motifs and
Yup.
like pictures of Uncle Sam and things like that.
Oh, God.
And there's a whole separate little thing for 4th of July specials.
I love how gaudy all of this is. It's so good. Havelock, like,
What is
looks.
this picture?
Havelock just looks briefly just like flinches at all this 4th of July stuff.
Mm.
Oh,
what is
God, yes!
Oh yeah, it's an exploded
no.
copier.
It's a toner cartridge that exploded.
Yeah.
Oh, no. This is
Copy
every
link.
time she
Paste
sneezes
link.
for a while.
That's like $70 smeared across the floor.
Sure
Yeah,
is.
directly out of your city's sinuses. What
Oh.
is happening in the TGI Fridays?
God.
The usual waitress comes over
Toner cart.
and says, "We have your table ready for you."
Many thanks.
And
Mithraea-
she gets you set down there and hands out the menus and says, "Miss Cardholder's in the bathroom, but she'll be with you in just a moment."
Hmm.
Mithraea takes the never was off her shoulder, writes them, like dusts them off, goes, "You're officially in a different dimension. You get to make choices here. They aren't gonna hurt anybody. What the fuck you want to eat?"
This is a pocket realm. Nothing has any consequence outside this pocket realm. Order some trashy food.
I want the
Get
burger with all
some
the stuff on
goddamn
it, please.
nachos.
Just all the.
Hmm.
A TGI
think they
Fridays
probably
that
ordered
is
chicken
slightly
wings.
nicer than usual can only exist between the realms.
It might actually be the nicest TGI Fridays across the universe, because
It's-
slightly
it's-
nicer
yeah.
than normal is not
Across
nothing.
the multiverse.
Yep. It's not nothing at a TGI Fridays.
Mhm.
I wonder if it's the TGI Fridays I went to a lot as a kid, which was very nice.
What
And then it
is
stopped
a
being
TGI
nice.
Fridays. I still have no
It's-
fucking idea what that is.
It's-
It's a chain restaurant.
Yeah, it's
This
just
is
a chain restaurant.
that wants to be the bar scene for people that only go out on Wednesday nights.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
like an
never
Applebee's
seen-
or a. It's not. Friendly's has
They
more
are
of a like
regional,
50s diner
so
aesthetic.
they-
Yeah.
It's weird because they have TGI Fridays in the UK and they're just like America themed. They're
Yeah,
just-
It's very
The
weird. We have to go
American
into it later.
Theme.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
could.
There's a surprisingly large amount of America themed restaurants. Actually, now I think about it, but
Ew.
I know, right? But
So, out of curiosity, what the fuck does the never was? What does the broker do in response to being like, order some fucking food?
They just sort of shrug and silently point out some chicken wings on the menu.
Yes! Mithraea considers this to be a success. She is very
Excellent.
proud
The
of that.
indecision vanish.
hell yeah, goals.
Havelock for
A
their
lifetime
part
of
orders.
indecision gives way to one order of chicken wings.
At least the fucking broker isn't gonna eat the entire cheese stick basket.
Or
Hmm.
attempt to.
Yep.
Hmm.
The
Havelock
fucking
orders
Keter
some
class
drinks.
hazard.
Yep. Havelock
God.
orders drinks and more importantly some Let's do bacon cheese fries. Yes.
Oh my god, yeah, loaded fries.
Yes.
With ranch or sour cream for dipping.
oh,
Pick your
sour
poison.
cream. Definitely sour cream. But yeah, that's what Havelock orders. That and like, what's a good 4th of July drink? Fuck it, we're drinking summer shit.
Another margarita.
I was gonna be
Yeah,
like, nah, we're
they
drinking
work.
summer shit. Fucking absinthe, let's go.
Oh god.
I like absinthe.
So after about the time that the appetizers come, Jane does finally make her appearance from the bathroom, and joins you at the table. Well, a lot of you were a little bit late.
Some things happened.
Really?
Yersinia sneezes out a puff of toner as this is said.
Havelock like blinks through their like extremely luxurious lashes with their new oil slick black eyes.
To be clear, Drevasay is wearing a completely different outfit. You
Dreadfus
Like,
still wearing the
from
martini
when she
dress.
last saw, she's just wearing a different outfit, and just to rub that in.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You
there
do
were some.
notice a bit of black ichor sort of seeps out of Jane's ear.
Yeah, there was some. Oh. Oh no. Yep, there were some complications, but we've resolved them.
Really?
Oh
Well,
yes.
You are
Yersinia sneezes out another puff of toner.
extraordinarily reliable. Even when
Well.
reality fractures around you, you find a way to persist. I admire
Well.
that. So
I
you
believe
have
it's why the. Oh, yep, and Havelock just holds it up and out to her. He's like,
exquisite. She
right
takes
here.
that gently, tucks that away in one of her pockets.
If I might
Two
be so
for
bold.
two. Boldness from you, Havelock? Why, I never.
Would you care to regale us with, perhaps a short story about yourself?
About myself. That's very, very forward of you, but I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Well, that is a broad topic, though.
Hmm.
Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
What about. A fond memory from your past?
Fond memory from my past.
There's
Well,
a hunger on Havelock's face now.
mhm. Well, there was this one time that I contracted a group of ne'er-do-wells to stage a daring casino heist.
It on.
And
So
funnily
good.
enough, the story that she tells is not your guys' involvement.
Oh.
This is a completely different casino with a completely different group of people. You're fairly certain it's not baseline Earth, given some of the
Oh.
oddities she describes, but it is demonstrably a different story.
That's really
Or a
fun,
different event.
actually. Excellent.
And she ends with, and then I had him stuffed in a trunk, and I had that car just right off the dock. That was the last time we saw him, and an excellent way to end that Valentine's Day.
Havelock has the look of someone who has just finished a truly delicious meal. This is just like, thank you. That was wonderful.
Also, in case you can detect that sort of thing, that all checks out. There's an air of truthiness there. You don't get the impression that she was trying to be cute or pull something over on you. It's like, okay, she's probably done this exact thing more than once.
Oh yeah. I get that impression.
Well,
but yeah.
It may be some time before you hear from me, but I am planning another job for you guys specifically. got something lined up that I think you will enjoy.
How exhilarating.
hmm
I, for one, am looking very forward to the next opportunity we get to work with you.
And I am looking forward to sharing another marg with you all sometime.
Oh my god.
As
You
we
finish
make
up your
nice
meal.
with the crushing void itself.
Yersinia is just fucking tired.
Yup, that's extremely valid.
You finish up your meal and exchange some niceties with Jane, but you do notice she seems a little bit more eager versus the first time you met to sort of like, okay, we're done here. But
Get you out the door.
Yeah,
not
wrap
in a
up.
rude way, but in a curt sort of way, like, okay, I have things to do.
Yep.
And she sort of encourages a relatively early end to the festivities.
That's fair. That's
And
fair.
Yersinia is
Miles as
backing
usual.
this. She wants to go to bed.
Yep. All right.
And with that, you return to the collection.
Welcome
it is-
back.
Do you have any antacids?
And
We
like
have
just
all the antacids your little stomach can muster.
Thank fuck.
Did you have
It's
anything
a
more
Tums festival.
specific in mind?
The
Mithraia gestures at the never was. I'm keeping them.
Ah, I never was. It has been some time since the collection has been favored by such a specimen. Will they be an employee or a donation?
Mithraia's like an employee, you motherfucker.
Ah,
Yeah,
of
and
course.
I, like,
Forgive my
I give them a look
impropriety.
as well, like, Jesus. Like, let's give them like a
So
what
good.
the fuck glare.
Havelock is like Havelock does flinch slightly, ever so slightly, when Mithrai is like, "You motherfucker." Just a quick eye twitch of just, oh shit.
So, that's where I'll end this, except because I gotta do cliffhangers.
Of course.
Sometime later, Yersinia.
Yee.
Sometime later, you are nose deep in books amongst the many, many stacks of the collection. And as you are moving between the stacks to pull another volume that you're seeking, you briefly brush past and then glimpse a odd figure walking between the stacks. The figure is female, nude, covered head to toe in thick black ink. And she has a feral look in her eyes. And
Powerful.
you realize almost a moment too late before she disappears between the shelves that she looks an awful lot like Jane. But when you go to follow her, she seems to have disappeared.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yersinia's gonna fucking take note of that one.
Yep.
Write that shit down.
I
She's not gonna tell everybody immediately,
Hmm.
but she's gonna take note. I'm gonna leave it there.
Hmm. I may have Havelock's new appearance be a really sweet literary reference.
God damn it.
Yeah,
I-
I feel like your
I've
city
been
is
not-
about to
you know why
sneeze
I'm-
away from Mercy more, and all jokes aside.
You know what I'm annoyed? You know what I'm kind of annoyed about? I've been meaning to commission some Drevsay art from it's Magic Mercer, right?
Yes, yes, Mercy
Yeah,
is
sorry,
amazing.
brain slip.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, gotten to send the commission numbers today. In fact, like, yeah, no, I'll finally get this done so we can have some Drevsay art for the stream. And you're gonna fucking beat me to it, Nick. You're gonna get a different Havelock before I've actually finished.
I need to get art done of
there's no
Yersinia
rush.
and Mithraia.
I can wait.
No, this is entirely me being a
Yeah, the entire Nebulous Collection is archived.
bitch
I'll
about my
archive this
ADHD.
episode later tonight.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for Nick to move them to YouTube so I can start dumping them into my RPG playlist.
I can
Because
get
I
that
don't
process
type in
started.
onto it. Yeah, wait, was I supposed to ask? Fuck.
No, I
thought
genuinely
you-
just didn't. I haven't thought to bother in a while, but I can upload that entire playlist if you want. It'll take
I mean, honestly.
forever,
Yeah, no.
but it's
I
not
know,
going to
don't-
consume my internet to fucking do it. Sure. All I have to do
No,
is hit
right,
the.
I have the intent
export.
to do that to expand my RPG playlist a lot because
Everyone.
I've done like 2
Yes.
episodes of my RPG show.
What's up, Yoon?
So I was going to say, are we done for the night?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yes.
Can AK sleep? Finally. Like human.
Oh, I need to eat first.
Food.
Yeah,
Oh,
go
that
eat
one,
something,
fuck.
AK. Don't die, please.
Yes.
Yep, food time. All right.
Sorry to keep you
Thank
here so
all.
long, AK. Thank
no,
you
no,
so
it's
much.
fine. We started
Thank you for
late
the
and it was
patience.
the shortish one. Not
Yep.
a big deal.
I love the
will
stories.
catch
They
you
do
guys
All
great.
later.
right. We should figure out. All right. Who wants to run the next one? Is the real question.
Now, here's the
So
thing.
next week I'm not going to be around
Next
because I've
week,
got some
I'm
family
not
stuff I
gonna
have
be
to attend
around.
to.
Um.
So
I-
let's push for the
yeah.
week after.
Oh yeah.
Definitely do that. I feel
Wait.
like
Let
we
Is
me-
it
need to-
exactly? It's exactly a week. My girlfriend has surgery. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be there. Or I'm not going to be
Yeah.
here.
Not here this week or not here week afterwards.
The 4th.
Hang on, let me.
That's next week.
'Cause I
Okay,
have
yeah,
one
no,
week
so,
from
yeah.
today.
some-
Yes.
So
have some ideas
week
I just
after
want-
that, let's plan for.
Okay.
I have some ideas, but I feel like we need to because of the aftermath of this session. I feel like I want Havelock to get resettled before we do that. I've discussed the idea with Nick already. You
Give
know the one.
me like. I plan on making a journal entry about
Who's
this.
dying?
I
Hmm?
might do some
Who
text
is
RP
dying?
about this. If
Yeah,
people
valid.
want
AK,
to.
are you okay?
AK's sort of
Oh,
disconnected
AK's
from our
already.
background.
Oh, okay.
Wildcat just dying in the background.
Oh no.
That's somebody else.
Okay,
I
kind of.
Apologize
you know what.
for all the background noise that I'm
It's
making.
fine.
No, it's okay.
fine.
So let's plan. Like, I might have some ideas in next week. Like, I won't be able to play, but I can still brainstorm.
Mm.
Let's see.
I need to
who's
rethink
feeling
how
it come next
Havelock
Thursday.
works now.
Yeah, you do.
But I have
think
several
we-
ideas for that.
We would like to run one of these upcoming weeks.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, Dax is next
Hell
then.
yeah.
Oh shit.
Dax, this is
You have 2
Enjoy
weeks.
the stress.
Alright.
Good luck, bitch.
Also, I need to get a name for the
No.
Never Was.
Yeah, we need to name the Never Was.
No, you'll
Or
do
have
great.
them
You'll
name
do-
themselves.
I mean that too.
They gotta make
Porque no los
choices.
dos.
What is that?
What if every
Why not
choice they
both?
make is the
Why
same
not both?
thing? What if every name they if they choose they just choose you gotta choose your name never was Hot Wings.
God.
I mean, that's pretty much. Like,
The Never Was not allowed to name those Fridays.
You joke, but that is pretty much how Pi found her name.
Oh no, yeah, she
I
told
will
me that
never
story.
get over that. I'll never be over it.
Oh wait, Yeen doesn't
I'm in
know
gold.
that.
Devastated.
So, one of our more newly found headmates, Pi, was the first of our headmates to not immediately have like a name, and we were eating pizza at the time when she was like discovered and first took to front, and she just like looked down at our plate, was like, "My name's Pizza now," and pie is short for pizza.
Nice.
PI is short.
No, I get it. I
and
get it.
All right. It's good. All right. Thank you
So-
all
It's
for
stuck.
joining us tonight. It has been a lovely time. I look very forward to when we can do this again. And I imagine it will be sooner than later. So, until next time, friends, do be lovely to our raid target
Who should we
victim
raid?
friend.
again?
You know who we should raid?
I think it's
But-
Is it
also just
Ophelia the
me
Snake?
right
Because
now.
I chose Ophelia the
Shadow
Snake.
Legends.
Oh
No.
God, fucking damn it!
I hate this. I hate that this
We
is the note
should
we're ending
raid
on.
Shadow Legends.
God damn it. Be well, everyone. Be lovely. Bye.
Oh wait, everyone in the raid, tell Ophelia Dax sent you, 'cause
Mm.
then it won't just be from a total stranger.
Again, I think it's
Wait,
just me.
we've done this
again.
before. I've rated
yeah,
Ophelia
we
several
have.
times. All right.
Memory bad.
Be well.
Doing it.
Have a
I'm
great
just
night,
gonna write,
everyone.
This is Dax's fault again.
Again. Yep.
Again. Yep.
And away we go.